New school standards for food in schools have been introduced to your kitchens. Foods associated with a growing range of child health issues such as obesity, diabetes and heart disease are being replaced with healthier options. Over the next few years, the School Food Trust want to support you to meet these standards in simple and effective ways. At Whalley High School in the West Midlands, everyone knows Blod.
What do you think of the new variation of the dinners, kids? Very nice.
She's the senior manager and driving force behind the newly named Whalley Diner.
Because we were changing the menu so radically, we wanted to change the name of the diner so it was a new and more modern name instead of just a school kitchen. They like it, they actually call it the Whalley Diner now. I've heard them say in the corridors, you're going to the diner instead of you're going to the kitchen, which doesn't sound right. It sounds more like their language, going to the diner.
Blod loves creating healthy option menus and over the last few years has changed the face of food at Whalley High School.
So your healthy biscuits, what have you been putting in them?
Sultanas.
Because I know we discussed putting the fruit in instead of chocolates and that.
Yeah.
What we've tried to do is introduce healthy options like chicken, fish, salads, pasta, things that kids recognise, but we're giving them the healthy option.
Blod knows that part of building a healthy school is building a healthy kitchen team.
We like to make sure that the children all get a piece of fruit every day, whether it be a piece of fruit like this or whether we do the bags up with a variety of fruits in so the children get a selection of everything.
Grab-and-go fruit bags have been a huge success at Whalley.
Because we were taking the confectionery off, we'd got to replace it, obviously. So what we thought we'd do, we'd introduce little mixed fruit bags because we thought one big apple or an orange is boring. So we thought we'd give them variety bags.
This isn't to say it's always easy. Some children are reluctant to try new things. Blod has found exciting ways to introduce new flavours.
Fish is an important part of the children's diets. We decided to bring mackerel in and lobster and any other fish really, and then just lay it out on the counter so that they can actually see it in its natural state. And I think that encourages them to look beyond just a fish pie or a fish cake.
Today, Blod is preparing mackerel and lobster salad.
With the mackerel, we've introduced this onto the menu, basically for a bit of shock value for the children. They normally see mackerel processed, so what I tend to do is poach it, put it on the counter and let the kids decide if they want to sample it. It's been quite successful. Do you know what fish that is?
Is it a mackerel?
It is a mackerel, yes it is. Do you eat cod? Because that's a cod pie that is there, with mashed potato and cheese on it.
Really?
So what do you think of this combination here?
Well, I like it very much and I think it's better.
Oh dear, you're going to be in trouble, you are. The team and I here feel privileged that we've been given the opportunity to educate the children because we've all got children. And it's a pleasure to see them coming and we do have very good feedback and it just gives us a buzz.
At least 2 portions of fruit and vegetables should be available per day per child. At least 1 should be vegetables or salad, and at least 1 should be fruit. Fruit-based desserts must be available at least twice a week in primary schools. Meat, fish or an alternative source of protein should be available every day. Red meat must be available at least 3 times a week in secondary schools and at least twice a week in primary schools. Fish must be available at least twice a week in secondary schools and at least once a week in primary schools. Oily fish must be available at least once every 3 weeks. Starchy foods must be available every day. Bread should be available every day. Starchy foods cooked in fat or oil should not be available more than 3 times a week. On a day that starchy food cooked in fat or oil is available, a starchy food not cooked in fat or oil must also be available. A milk or dairy food must be available every day. Jeanette Ori has worked in school food for over 15 years. After many hours in the kitchen, she has decided to spread her healthy eating knowledge and now runs training courses on a farm in Essex.
We've got 10 ladies coming this morning. We're going to have a great time and I'm just now going to go off in the kitchen and get things sorted.
School cooks and kitchen assistants can come to Jeanette's to enhance their skills.
Maybe some of them, this is the first time that they're going to be cooking organic food from scratch.
The cooks are split into twos. Each group is given a menu and the use of Jeanette's kitchen. They have 2 hours to prepare lunch.
You're feeling stressed because, you know, you want to make sure it looks nice and tastes nice, and it's got to be done by 12:30.
Get all this ready, put it in bowl and just put a tea towel over it.
Jeanette understands firsthand the pressure school cooks are under.
School cooks are an integral part of the school and in my opinion should be treated as such. We do a hugely important job. What we've got to remember is that we're feeding a lot of children who sometimes it's their only main meal of the day.
And tips are given on how to make these meals as healthy as possible.
When you make things like lasagna or anything like that where we normally use chopped tomatoes, what we're going to do is we're going to make a basic tomato sauce and get the veg in the sauce, so you use that instead of the chopped tomatoes. It's just a way that we've been getting more veg and stuff into the kids.
I better try the one I made, otherwise everyone will think there's something wrong with it.
Healthy food and tasty too. Scholar Rest is a large catering company with over 6,500 kitchen staff in the school system. Like Jeanette, Scholar Rest know the value of training. This year, rookie chefs have been learning about the new school standards.
What the standard now says is that there should be not less than 2 portions of fruit and vegetables per child per day.
Trainee chefs are given a chance to discuss some of the new challenges.
Taking the salt and everything out of the dinners now, they, like you said, they're very bland. So the kids are not going to eat it.
It's our job to sort of like train them so that they're not taking salt, because that's what it's all about.
We're talking about a child that's coming in at 4 years old. That's the point. And even before then, where we can actually help develop their taste so they don't expect things to be salty.
And many cooks add flavour to their food with alternatives such as herbs and spices and garlic. The cooks are given a demonstration from training chef Paul Smith. Then it's time to get stuck in. For Scholar Rest, training courses like this give their trainees a chance to swap tips with their colleagues.
Kids won't eat the tomatoes or the cucumber. The only reason why they won't eat them is because of the seeds. If you take the seeds out, they'll eat them all day long.
Children, they tend to eat with their eyes. You know, you look at the food and you think, oh yeah, it's lovely, and you know, they go for it. So I try to make it look tasty.
And the new standards seem to be a big hit.
We start everything from fresh fruits, fresh meat, fresh potatoes and all those things. So it's all fresh, and I think it's a good idea for the kids to have fresh food.
Pupils should have access to free fresh drinking water at all times. Only healthier drinks should be available. Water, pure fruit juices, skimmed or semi-skimmed milk, soya milk enriched with calcium, yogurt or milk with artificial sweeteners or less than 5% added sugar, or any combinations of these drinks. Deep-fried foods should not be served more than twice a week. This includes foods which are deep-fried or flash-fried in the manufacturing process. Meat products may be made available infrequently, provided they meet the criteria for minimum meat content and do not contain prohibited offal. This applies to all shaped and coated meat products such as sausages, burgers and sausage rolls. At Halley Primary in Tower Hamlets, resident cook Molly Parker has had great success in changing Victorian attitudes towards school lunch. Molly likes to look at the food from a child's perspective.
Yes, Hilal, we're 5 minutes of 5. We were all children, and all our environments define who we are. So I thought, well, let me regress myself and go back to what it was like in school. And I remember you'd just been trooped along and you've got this really stern-faced woman and you'd be the little one, oh, please, please, like Oliver. So I thought, well, I want it to be a relaxed atmosphere. Stab, and then you take the knife and then you can pull the meat away, can't you? And so, you know, it's just basically all about keeping the children interested in food, or how do you do that? And like I said, it's going back to being a child.
Molly likes to make sure the children understand what they're eating. She believes educating them is a vital part of her job.
By putting the flashcards out, children no longer come and ask me, what's for dinner, Molly, what's for dinner? They can actually read it for themselves and it gives them a choice. Would you like my darling? Would you like fish? Thank you. I've just printed bits and pieces out of an encyclopedia and I've put them all around the hall because it just looked too sterile. And I wanted it to be bright, to be colourful, and while you're standing in line, you've got something to read. And also, not only you just reading, you're educating yourself as well.
Molly's kitchen is 100% halal, but this hasn't limited her options.
Even though they're prepared completely different, you can still make beef burger, or you can make lasagnas, or you can make a hot pot. It's a diverse community. The food that we cook isn't just based on a culture, it's based on the world, because basically that's what we try to encourage.
But it's not all about lunch. She likes to make sure there's healthy food at break time too.
Our fruit platter, we've made sure that it's colourful and it's bright. And once you know if it's colourful and bright, little people will look and say, oh, I like that. I love one of them.
I would like a banana.
Molly has even helped set up an after-hours cookery club to get the kids involved in some hands-on kitchen fun.
You've got tears in your eyes. Oh! Done spaghetti bolognese, tuna pasta bake. The recipes go home so that they can... some of the children have come back and said to me, Molly, we made this and we made that. And the parents have come up and saying, that was really nice.
Working closely with the children has proved just the right recipe at Halley Primary.
There's an expression that my mother uses, a mother to one is a mother to all. You want children to be happy, you want children to be willing to investigate, to learn, have a little laugh, yeah, and I sing to my children, and they keep saying, you should go in the X Factor one of these days. Who knows? The wheels of the bus go round and round all day long.
No confectionery should be available at lunchtime. This includes chocolate, sweets, biscuits, cakes containing or covered in chocolate, crisps, cereal bars and processed fruit bars. The only savoury snacks available at lunchtime should be nuts and seeds with no added salt, fat or sugar. Plain popcorn can be served. Table salt should not be made available to pupils. Condiments should be served in sachets or equivalent-sized portions. The 3 parts of the government's new standards for food in schools will be phased in by September 2009. Interim food-based standards for school lunches in all schools from September 2006. Food-based standards for school food other than lunch to be in all schools by September 2007. Nutrient-based standards and new food-based standards for school lunches will be adopted by primary schools by September 2008 and by secondary schools by September 2009.